If you watched last night's episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville, then you might be asking yourself a similar question that I'm asking myself today. Did we just watch the makings of a Scott family spinoff? Is that what last night's episode was gearing up towards? Because it definitely seemed like it, because I was very, very confused. We'll get into all of that, okay? We're going to get into all of the details and more, trust and believe, in this video, okay? Sky Squad, welcome back. We are back in the building to discuss Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 4, Episode 11, Mission Impossible and the Road to Utah, okay? Now, if you are an eagle-eyed fan of the show, and if you really are a critical watcher of the show, what you will notice is that last night's episode featured no Martell, no Kimmy, no Maurice, no Destiny, and no Stormy. Okay. Several key players were not in the building last night, and it was noticeably obvious to me. Okay. I took my notes and I was like, wait a minute. Half the cast won in this episode. All right. We got a lot of the Scotts and we got a lot of Tiffany Whitlow. Okay. Let me know how you guys feel about that in the chatterization down below. Now, if you guys are in the chat, let me know where you're watching from, because I know we got some people up in here on this good Sunday morning, okay? I see we got Texas is in the building. Hey, who else is in the building this morning? Oh, somebody said Kiki is everything. Y'all hear me? All right. I see some of y'all think the same thing. Scott family spinoff. Twin Cities. Hey, how you doing? California. Hey, I see y'all in the building. Come on through. Alabama, Seattle, Belgium, Tennessee, Charlotte, Orlando, Cleveland. Some people are here for a spinoff. They love the group. Syracuse, New York, Mississippi, Rochester, Bullhead City, Arizona, Northern Virginia, Georgia, Jersey in the building, Atlanta, Henrico County, Virginia. Robin from Bmore. I see y'all. Come on through. Belize, Jersey. Yes. So, you know, as I rate this episode, hey, we got Qatar in the building. Hey, how you doing? Um, so as we rate this episode, this is a tough one. It's a tough one for me because I felt as though every episode cannot be action packed. All right. And so in a lot of episodes, I do look for the nuance, and that's why I rate the episodes the way that I do. And I typically rate Huntsville on a higher scale than I rate other shows because I just think it's more of a meaty show than some other shows that we have out there because of the stakes with the families and all that kind of stuff like that. So you know that you guys are rating the episode already, and that's what we're about to do. We're going to rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. So as you guys know, I want your ratings, and I'm going to give you mine. So for me, I'm going to have to probably give this episode a 7. A part of me wants to give it a 7.5 for the mere fact that we got some interesting action with the confrontation of Marsau at the end of the episode, and this cringy moment where he is offering, jokingly so, but it was still kind of cringy that he's offering up a smell test to Latisha's relatives. I don't know. It was just given, oh, it's Black Targaryen. Yes, I love that name. It's just giving me a 7 vibes. I mean, we did get some interest, not a 1. The Tiffany situation, I mean, it's interesting to me, but not so much so that I felt like it deserves so much time in this episode. Okay. Um, but see, Chef Don Don says Tiffany's story hit home. I am adopted. It had me in tears. Just recently found my brother after 18 years. I'm hoping that we get to connect soon. So on some level, I mean, listen, I I I do enjoy the journey, but I guess I would have appreciated it had it been spaced out more because it felt like the episode was very Tiffany heavy. You know what I'm saying? And especially when we know next week is going to really set it off, right? So anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing jumping. All right. We start with Tiffany and Lewis, and she's talking to him about, this journey to find her biological father. Um, the reason for this is that her son is her only blood relative, and she wants to find somebody else in her family so she can understand what her family history is in terms of their medical history. So she has to tell her parents that raised her that she's going to go searching for her biological father, and she's worried about how they'll take it. Ultimately, they are supportive. We learned that she found her biological mother, and the man that she thought was the biological father turned out not to be the biological father, and so now the biological mother is no longer speaking, but as we will learn later, it's likely because she was a white woman and she was messing with the black men's in a mostly black area, and there could be some shame regarding either who it was or possibly not knowing who it was. So we don't really know, okay? But the journey will begin to develop as we get into the episode. Miss Wanda down into the Bessemer, Alabama, is meeting with the food truck renovator. I don't know much about food trucks, but I know for myself, if I'm going to go and purchase something and I got to put $40,000 into it, why not just spend the $40,000 on a truck that already works? Okay. Because I'm sure you could pay an extra $20,000 and get a truck that's already popping, okay? For a grand total of 60,000. And Miss Wanda, maybe you could put up 20,000 of your own while you asking Marsau and Tisha for $40,000 to fix this dilapidated truck. Okay. You mean to tell me that was the only truck you can find and you're going to have to hire a renovator to renovate the truck? And I don't even know how much it's going to cost to actually fix the inside inner workings of the truck, because when Marceau opened that thing up, it looked like it was from the Flintstone ages. But to me, I would not go that route. And again, I don't know much about the food truck business. Okay. But that just ain't, it would not have been for me. Okay. She leaves them to discuss she leaves them with the menu, and they stand around discussing whether or not they can give her this money. Marceau is basically like, listen, if we give your mama this money for this truck, we might as well be just throwing our $40,000 away. Okay. um and then she has to remind him, well, you want to go back into business with Martell, somebody who tried to destroy our marriage, she ain't letting that go. Okay. She ain't gonna let that go. Latisha ain't ever letting that go. Can I blame her? I don't know. I don't think so, to be very honest with you, because the moment that Marceau mentioned something about there being an alleged 20-something women's was the moment that the internet erupted, okay? And um everything went to heck in a handbasket, okay, for the Scots in terms of the rumors. And whether there are any truth to these rumors or not, I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is I do believe that Latisha would have rather lived in her nice, happy bubble, believing that they did not exist. Okay. Anyway, um, Latisha has all the faith in her mom that this whole situation can work, but he doesn't feel like they have dotted all their I's and crossed all their T's by the look of this truck. She wants to know if he's going to invest or not. And if he had to answer today, the answer is no. Okay. No. Somebody going to invest because Wanda got that truck from what we can tell based on the interwebs. So I want to know what happened. But I guess we'll find out. Melody Cherie, okay. Did y'all note the name change on her title card when she was riding in the car with Tiffany? Let me know if you noticed it in that chatterization down below. I noticed it. It might have changed beforehand, but I had noticed it like I noticed it last night. She in the car riding with Tiffany to Utah. Okay, they headed to the local newspaper to find out some answers because apparently the school had been burnt down or something, and all the records gone. Um, they talk about the biological mom perhaps being embarrassed, and that's why she's not talking to Tiffany no more because the man that she thought was the daddy ain't the daddy. All right. Um, they get into talking about Tiffany wanting whether or not she should take her IUD out or not, and you know, um, basically, Melody wants to know what Lewis's perspective is on this, on her taking the IUD out and potentially having a baby. Tiffany says, Lewis feels like I don't even have time for him. And Melody accurately says, you better listen to that man. Okay. You better listen to that man. He ain't just talking for no reason. She goes on. So then Tiffany goes on to say this. Whether I'm working all day and all night, that man is still getting the sloppy toppy and he's still getting the bootay. So I don't know what else he needs. How about your time and attention? Okay. How about your time and attention? How about he needs that? As much as I talk about on these shows that some of these couples, talk about the sex a whole lot, I understand the importance of it in a relationship. But I feel like if you feel like you satisfying your man on the sexual level, okay, and you giving him that sloppy topping and you giving him that poontang, then I feel like if he's complaining about something, it might be the fact that you worked all day, okay? It might be the fact that you was gone from sun up to sundown, all right? And so maybe it ain't just that he wants the punani dani. He wants your time. The man might want to spend time with you. He might like your personality a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he needs some of that too. It's a mix of all things. It's not just a recipe of one. Okay. um Yes, it's not just the sex, it's the intimacy. There's so much more to explore in a relationship. And girl, if you are too tired to do any of that, then I don't understand how you are going to have a carve out time for a baby, okay? Unless you are going to order a nanny that comes along with the baby. Okay. Anyway, Mel says accurately, a baby is not going to make it be enough in this relationship. So Tiffany is going on and on and on and on and on about stuff that her and Lewis likes to do. And honestly, just like Melody in this scene, I was starting to yawn and I was getting sleepy. And next thing you know, Melody is knocked out. Actually, that little scene right there where she fell asleep, I almost want to give it a point 0.5, add it, make it a 7.5 for the episode, just for that moment right there, because the accuracy of how it came across on the screen was exactly how I was feeling in the moment as well. Tiffany be going on and on and on and on and on about she ain't got no time. This, that, yada, yada. Oh, girl. Okay, fine. We get it. You don't have time. Stop talking about this baby if you ain't got no time. Simple. Okay. Boom. Thank you for the super chat. Whew. Anyway, they arrive in the Utah. Okay, and they get to the newspaper, go through a couple of copies of the newspaper for the year Tiffany might have been born or whatever, which I guess is 1987. Okay, that makes Tiffany pretty young. I mean, younger than I. I don't know why I expected her to be a little bit older, and I think it's just the nature of the shows that we watch. It ain't nothing to do with how she looked. Okay, before y'all start going there, I'm just saying she reads on the screen personality wise just a bit older. That's it. Anyway, we learned that there was a statewide adoption. Okay. Black people took over the county and then the white people left. Okay. And I'm just giving it to y'all. I'm not being politically correct at this point. I'm telling y'all what they said in the episode. Okay. Hey, Erica, thank you so much. We appreciate you around here, around these parts, down in Utah. Okay. Thank you for that, boo. Um, And the man bluntly tells them if she's the child of an interracial relationship, then she's going to have a hard time finding out who the daddy was, because at that time it was the basis for lynching a person. And this was 1987. I'm like, they were still lynching people down in the South in 1987? I mean, what in the world? Anyway, Melody suggests they start walking around and asking just random people questions because she wants to get down to the bottom of what's really going on down to the Utah. And so they find a man who was born and raised in the Utah, and he owns a barbershop. And of course, immediately upon seeing that photo, he recognizes her mama. And I was like, now listen, that was real convenient. I mean, I don't, I don't, I don't know. I don't know. I do believe in coinky dinks, but I was like, how do you recognize? Let me tell y'all something. I could look at a photo in my from my yearbook from when I graduated, and I probably wouldn't remember half the people I went to school with. I'm just being real with y'all, okay? So this man recognizes her mama, okay, from back in the day, and she used to hang out with the black men's, okay. And at the time when he saw her, she was already expecting. So not only was she expecting, but she was running the streets with the black men's. Okay. So but luckily for them, they learned that there was no lynching at the time. So apparently he didn't get caught. All right. So with that information, they head out of Utah and they go back home where Melody can hopefully get a little sleep on the way back. All right. For some reason, when they said Utah, because I don't know the state of Alabama like that, I was thinking they meant, the state of Utah, like Salt Lake City, Utah, like that Utah. But it's actually Utah, okay? Eutaw, Utah, Alabama. And I thought this was gonna be the girls' trip or something like that. This was just the two of them going down the street. We've been building up to all of this for all this time, and y'all was just driving down the highway, down 95 or whatever y'all got in Alabama. I don't know, but I was expecting a little more than this. Y'all ain't even stay at the hotel. You drove back the same day. This ain't no girls trip. Anyway, back down in Bessemer. Half the show was not in Huntsville this week anyway, so I guess that's why we ain't see the rest of the folk. Down in Bessemer at the Scott family spinoff, okay? Miss Wanda is hosting a tasting for the food truck menu. Everybody arrives, and this is when it started to creep up on me. I was like, is this the setup for the spinoff? We start meeting random family members that I don't feel like we've ever really met before. Okay. Now I'm not mad at it because I've become accustomed to the spinoff at this point. You know, I done had to get to know every one of Portia's family members. I done had to get to know everybody working at Candy's restaurante. So I'm accustomed to getting to know new characters now and trying to feel like I need to care about them because it's hard to care about somebody that you don't quite know yet, right? It's hard for me to get invested in their stories, but at the same time, I won't get invested if I don't see them on camera. So, I mean, I guess that's what you got to do. So we find out that T-Man, one of Latisha's cousins, who she felt like she treats him like her son because she felt like she helped raise him, is just getting a divorce, but the divorce ain't finalized and he done already got some other woman pregnant, okay? He starts spilling the beans to people and she gets mad at him for telling that, she's expecting. Now, the issue with this is, now I know from what I have heard that typically women do not like to go public with that bit of information until they are out of a certain window of time. Now, of course, that is up to every woman's discretion, obviously, but I've just usually heard that they don't want to make it public until like a certain point where they feel comfortable. So it is not his job to go running around saying that she just last week found out that she was expecting and telling this to the family while the cameras are rolling. Okay. Also, so Tisha has to have a little pep talk with him. You need to get your life together, youngin. Okay. You need to handle your business. You need to start wearing some condoms. Start doing the right things, man. And so apparently T-Man is going to be working the food truck. And I feel like this is going to be the spinoff, Miss Wanda's food truck. Okay. It's going to be like a sweetie pies. For and that's going to be it's going to be the new sweetie pies. Okay. And it's gonna be under the Wanda umbrella and down to the Bessemer. That's in my mind. That's what's happening, but I could be wrong. Anyway, T-Man now feels like they got to make the food truck work because he got a baby on the way. All right. Um. Now let me. Now who is he? Is he Latisha's brother or cousin? I don't know. Y'all gonna have to Okay, Princess P says she said he is like a little brother to her, not her brother. Okay, okay. I don't know who he is. That I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's somebody. Brother, cousin, brother. Okay, fine. That's the brother. Thank you. Okay. All right, so we got Tisha's brother. All right. Um, but less about Letitia's brother. Let's talk more about Bernard. Okay. I'm less concerned about T-Man, and I'm more interested in Mr. Bernard, who is the hair blonde or is the hair gray? Y'all know I'm colorblind, so y'all gonna have to help me out with this one, just like y'all had to let me know that was the brother. Okay. I, it's too early in the scenario for me to really care about these characters because I'm just kind of like confused about how we're getting so much of them at once when I'm really craving to know what's going on with other characters on the show. Okay. But Bernard, okay, who Marsau calls the male Wanda, Bernard wants to know why Marsau called him a minikin. And Marsau is like, a minion? So Latisha then gets pulled into a conversation with her cousin. Y'all let me know in the chat, okay? Was it the cousin? Are they sisters? Or I mean, are they what are they? I thought I saw a cousin on the screen, but y'all correct me in the good chat because I don't know enough to care yet. Okay. Um, she gets pulled off into a conversation with Tiffany, who is secretly going through a divorce. And again, it's like, oh my God. I mean, girl, I don't want that for you. I really want the best for you. I don't know you. I want the best for you, but it's too much too soon. Well, I don't need to know. And if it's what it ain't a secret no more. You've been secretly going through a divorce. I'm sorry for you. I am sorry to this woman, but I do not know you yet. Okay. So it's kind of like prep me for this spinoff before we just dive right into it. Okay. That's all I'm asking for. Okay. Let me know this is the introduction to the Scott's family spinoff. Okay, let me know that first, because I'm just kind of be tossed to and fro in the waves, feeling like I'm out here without a lifeboat. What is going on, and who is this person, and why should I care? Okay, um, I mean, I'm just being real. Okay, I'm being real. All right. Um. Okay. And I wrote in my note at this point, I said, I feel like we're being pitched a spinoff. So of course, Latisha gives her the family pep talk. It's gonna be okay, girl. You and the 5 kids, y'all gonna be all right. It's gonna be difficult at first. You're gonna go through hard times, but I'm a survivor. Okay, I mean, it was all of that. Meanwhile, Bernard is still going off on Marsau. Do we call him cousin Bernard, Uncle Bernard, Daddy Bernard, Papa Bernard? What? I don't know what he is. Papa Smurf. Okay. Is calling Marsau a controlling freak and riles up the troops, riles up the family, and gathers them all around Marsau and tells him, and you got too many women's, man. And he points out the boys' trip and the hotel and the motel and Marsau's back being at the allegedly being at the motel. T-Man rolls up. and comes at him with the back and the motel rumors too. No, so they want to clarify if it was him or not. And everybody is confronting him. Bernard is screaming, Marsau is a cheater. Marsau is a cheater. Marsau then explains what he was doing down to the Atlanta again for the second time. Okay. They want to know how they are to know when he is telling the truth. And that at that point, he says something cringy about, well, the only way you're gonna be able to tell if I'm telling the truth is to do the smell test. And I'm like, are you making a reference to smelling your nether regions to Latisha's family? That's nasty. Okay, that's just nasty. But I guess he felt like it was appropriate for the occasion because he was technically being accosted by her family and he wanted to get them off of his back. Okay. Um, I don't know, this whole scene to me just didn't feel as authentic as I felt like it was supposed to. And I don't mean no harm by that, but it just felt to me like it felt like everybody was laughing during the scene. So it was hard for me to take it serious. Like, I didn't really get the general sense that anybody was really, really angry. I really just got more of a general sense like, oh, we are supposed to be confronting this man at this point. Because I felt like even Marceau was kind of laughing it off. So I don't know. It was hard to read this whole scene to me. And I have to be honest about how I felt about it because this was one of those moments that to me I just wasn't I couldn't fully digest this meal. That's the best way that I can put it. I could not fully digest this meal. Um Letitia then pops up in the conversation. And Marcel was going on about how he's a great provider for Letitia, and they're going back and forth with him. And so Tiffany, the cousin, asks, are you staying true to her so the rumors are all false, is what you're saying? And Marceau says they are baseless. Tiffany says, my concern is that when she comes to you with a genuine concern, you don't defend her. Like, for example, the 20 women. We want to hear it from you. She has your back and she's out here in the streets defending you. And then they point out that he always says, well, let me ask you a question instead of answering the questions. Now, I feel like if this scene had taken place with simply T-Man and Tiffany, or maybe just Tiffany and Marceau, this would have came across better on screen because otherwise it just did. Somebody said it felt performative. And that's what I didn't like about this scene because I don't like that feeling. It did feel overly performative. And again, Tiffany was the person to me that came across the most genuine in her concerns about the situation. So after Tiffany points out that you always ask a question instead of answering the question, he does the same thing. He says, if I was cheating, would I say no? And I'm like, bro, you just proven her point. Tiffany says, yeah, you're gonna say no. So Marceau says, what does it matter what I say then? Tiffany says, because your wife wants to hear it. It's hard for me to really talk about the scene again because again, I felt like it felt very performative to me and I didn't like that cuz this show doesn't give me performance. Um it gives me real direct conversation with a lot of nuance and some scenes don't hit like other scenes, but I at least felt like when I was watching Tiffany and Melody, running around the streets of Utah, or at least Tiffany in conversation with the man at the newspaper, I felt like I was getting new information. And again, this scene just seemed like we could have just cut to Kiki walking in and I would have been absolutely fine, to be quite honest with you. I really could have. Um, so T-Man is talking to Marceau about the food truck. And oh, before we get to that, there's a moment where T-Man tells Miss Wanda that he's expecting. His girl is expecting. And Miss Wanda's basically, I'm not trying to hear you right now. Um, you need to get rid of that wife first. And basically, T-Man is like, we got to make this food truck thing pop because now I got a family on the way. Now, the reason why I tell you guys that it felt like the perfect setup to me for a spinoff, which I'm not mad at, again, I just wish I had known, is because we've already set up some very high stakes, right? And so that's what makes for some of the best reality TV shows is when the stakes are high. So you've already got a kind of messy situation going on with T-Man and his ex, the ex-wife that he's not really divorced from yet, the new girl that he's having a baby with, and now he's going to have to provide for his family. And you've set up this situation where Miss Wanda doesn't even yet have the food truck. So this is a situation where everybody has to try to make this whole situation work. That is how you build a spinoff. That is how you build a show. You've got to have some stakes and some level of conflict for everyone to work through, right? So I felt like as I was watching these scenes, I was like, oh, okay, so that's pretty much the spinoff. In my head, again, I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong, but that's how it felt. And I see that a lot of you guys felt the same way. So there's a mess going on, and I feel like we've set the stage with key characters like T-Man and like Tiffany, who is going through her secret divorce. So both of these people are going through their own divorce situations, and they both sound a little bit on, like, I don't want to say messy, but just kind of like on the difficult side. So you've already set the stage with several key characters, and then you throw in Bernard in the mix to cause some extra chaos as the male Miss Wanda, and now you've got the perfect recipe for a family spinoff. Okay. So anyway, T-Man is talking to Marsau about the food truck, and Marsau is warning him that it won't be easy. Bernard starts going off again. See, there he go, not giving definitive answers. Just say yes or no. Your yes means yes, and your no means no. And then Kiki arrives, okay, and speaks to everybody but Marsau and Latisha. And that's pretty much the episode. Again, I would have been fine um with just having Kiki show up because we know Kiki at this point. You know, we've been warmed up to Kiki enough to know who she is and to know what role she plays on this show. And so that's really where we want to get to is the meat and potatoes of this showdown that's coming up between Latisha and Kiki. And that's also going to include Marsau versus Kiki's husband. Because if you think that Kiki's husband is just going to let Marsau talk to her any kind of way, baby, it looks like you in for a treat next week. Okay. Shout out to Quatia with the super chat who says Tisha love letting other people be her mouthpiece. A lot of people say that about Latisha, but I think Latisha's a rather smart individual. Um, you know, NC says, "Oh, did you change your name? I thought it was longer than that, boo." Says, "Are they coming out with a Black Hillbillies version of spin?" Good night. I'm not messing with you today. Um, so that was the episode, y'all. I mean, not a lot. I mean, we did get movement on some things, but I think next week is really going to be where things get jumping again. And I'm excited for that. All right. With that being said, guys, listen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for having this little ponderosa with me. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell button, visit amirin.com and get your CMOS capsules at 40% off with code Wanda. I'm gonna keep that up probably for like the rest of the day, and then we'll move into other things. So everything in the store is 40% off. With that being said, y'all know I love y'all. Okay. Y'all know I love y'all. Y'all know I love y'all, and I rock with y'all. So y'all be safe out there, and I will holler at you. Tonight, Real Housewives of Atlanta comes on, and I will be going live with the Jasmine brand at 9 p.m. on Instagram. So be sure to tap in for that. Now, with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video.